Okay, and People Co has a very well-established policy of liaising with human resources if the situations look like they may be starting to get out of hand or potentially can be damaging to the company. So George decides, quite rightfully, to go and talk to his human resources manager, Jill, about some of the potential issues with William and how is he going to manage this, because if this is mismanaged under company policy, the results can be fairly dramatic. So George goes along to have a chat with Jill and the discussions around what we've been talking about this morning. And so, Jill, what's your advice to George at this particular time?
Well, George, as you know, we've now got a very robust disciplinary procedure that when I joined the company, that was one of the things that I was asked to put in place. So that's now in place, and everyone knows about it and everyone needs to follow that. So what my suggestion to you is that you make sure that he's aware of the disciplinary procedure, and if he doesn't start to perform well soon, that you go through that first stage, because as you know, there's a number of stages in the procedure. So to be honest, the sooner you get it started, the better. Because we've had this situation, I know in the past, before I joined, where people just stayed in a job and they weren't capable of it for a long time. So if at the end of the day we're going to have to let William go, then the sooner you start, the better. So my other recommendation to you is to make sure that you keep notes of every meeting you have with him. Don't have any of those conversations in the car park or by the water cooler anymore, because they can be taken out of context. So every meeting needs to be formalised. You need to agenda items in advance. You need to make sure that you take notes. You need to give him notes at the end of that meeting so he's aware of it. Make sure that he knows that this is a serious process. To cover ourselves, just make sure that any training that he needs is in place. So you need to do that. And I've looked at his sick record. He hasn't had any time off sick, so that's obviously not a problem here. So we don't need to worry about that one. So just make sure that you cover our backs and you follow the procedure. Don't let anything go out of line with that. That's my advice to you.
Thank you for sharing. You may notice, of course, that our colleague George has been very sagely nodding his head. That after 5 years of service, that after promotion, there's really no consideration that maybe George isn't as well as William's not as well as he might be, because he's not had a sick day, so he must be fine. George is not really happy about this advice that he's received, and we'll see very shortly what he is going to do.